Hey, this is Scarf Duffy Bonsai. Today we're going to talk about entry-level cameras, how things are, and I think how things should go into the future. Really, we're seeing a lot of entry-level cameras like this Nikon Coolpix B500. I made a video, just a simple hands-on video, and it's up to like 70,000 views. So there is definitely some type of market for a camera between $250 to $300. That's really where it is at currently. We're going to look at B&H to see prices of cameras and get an idea of where I think things should go price-wise with features as well. The issue is that with a camera like that, really its only true redeeming feature is that long zoom lens. Of course, any type of smartphone, you won't have a really true, decent long-range zoom lens on it. It's just not physically possible. So besides that feature, if someone wants to get into photography, they buy that camera, they find out that their Google Pixel 2, 3, whatever is just so much better in many situations with video, with photos, except for that long range stuff. Maybe they kind of probably get a little angry, a little sad that that was a waste for them. They return it if they can, or they just throw it in a closet or something, who knows. But the issue with cameras at that price point and the camera manufacturers is that they're selling these small sensor, small aperture cameras. Anything around that price point I think is a good starter point for anyone wanting to just see if a dedicated camera is something they like, something they enjoy. Now, they can definitely get that if you kind of keep your expectations at a certain level, but again, with any type of phone, probably other devices, you just will get better quality. So my first decent camera was a Canon S200 Digital Elf, a small digital camera. I still have it. Compared to anything else out there at the time, it was significantly better in image quality than any type of phone at all. There was a true purpose to that camera back then, and I think it was in the $300 range, maybe $350 at that time, 2002, that it was hyper relevant. Now we see they're still selling cameras 1/2.3 inch, slow lens. The lens might have a decent amount of zoom, but everything else is just not that great. And with someone coming in, they expect a certain level of decent stuff out of it because it's a dedicated camera. Otherwise, they just use their phone or whatever. So in this video, we're going to look at some prices, try to decide what price point those 1-inch sensor cameras should be at. Going to look at the website and decide on that. So we have the B500, $256.95. Let's just say $260. So I have probably 70,000 plus views on the B500 video. That means that range of people are interested in around $250 to $300 getting into a dedicated camera, because most likely they don't have a camera at this point. Let's look at 1-inch sensor cameras. Just based on size of camera, the RX0 basically says 1-inch sensor camera with a f4 lens on the RX0. 24mm equivalent lens is very, very tiny, so I don't think size is necessarily a problem for slightly larger sensors, or actually quite a bit larger than 1/2.3 inch. But of course, the price is very expensive. Sort by price real quick. You have the original RX100 that is actually a pretty old camera now, $368. They still sell it new, and that's an instant savings price. It's probably normally a little bit more than $368. $368 is kind of within the realm, but so I don't think this price is where it should be for that entry level 1-inch sensor camera. And you can tell based on the prices of these RX100s that they're really jacking it up based on the model, because they all have the same sensor size. Now there might be new technology in the new ones. I think phase detect autofocus is in the version 5, version 6. And then the version 6 has a different lens. So I could see some justification of a higher price for that one. But this one has a faster lens. So it's just strange where they're pricing it. So let's say $100 cheaper for original RX100, and they really marketed that camera well. They got rid of their entry-level 1/2.3 inch sensor cameras, which are actually pretty expensive. Let's look at those real quick. 245 1/2.3 sensor cameras. Of course, there's a lot of cheapos. $70. I'm sure that one's great. So they have a W800. That's super cheap, $88. I'm sure it's all right, but I'm sure also a lot of phones are very similar, if not much better in quality. See, that only does 720p video. I don't know what they're thinking with these cameras. Of course, it is $90, but come on. $178 for a entry-level bridge camera. So we're going up higher in price. WX220, WX350. So that's nearly $300 for a little bit more. You could, well, $100 more, you can get the RX100. So this one has a very slow lens, a small sensor, f3.5 to 6.5, 20x zoom, which I guess the zoom is long, but you pay for it in image quality. It does 1080p. Of course, a lot of phones do 4K now. Not that that makes a huge difference, but so we keep going up in price. That's nearly $300. So the HX80 I made a video on, $318. You can just spend a little bit more at the moment to get the RX100. That camera seems very irrelevant besides the flip-up screen that it has. It has a selfie screen, which the original RX100 I don't believe has that. So very similar in price. I think this or even cheaper should be where the RX100 is, or an improved one with some changes to it. WX500, $350. Come on. So someone who buys this and thinks they're getting something like the RX100 or any equivalent 1-inch sensor camera, they're gonna be they're not gonna have a great experience compared to a phone if they have a Pixel 3 or something. It's just really strange what they're doing with entry-level cameras. Let's look at the APS-C cameras real quick. So the cheapest one, $329. It's cheaper than the RX100. Of course, it has a slower lens, but it has a significantly larger sensor than the RX100. I think this one's autofocus is not great, but the RX100 actually has contrast detect autofocus, so I don't think that would be super amazing as well. I mean, if you need something small, of course you want the smaller camera. So looking at these, people won't necessarily want this, but yeah. So the next one up is $350. That's still cheaper, and it doesn't have a lens, so that's kind of not good for beginners, of course. Let's look for the next one that has an actual lens with it. M100, I have one of these. $400. I think that's a good value for what it is. Now, I'm not really complaining about the prices of these interchangeable lens, larger sensor cameras. I think they're at a decent point for these. It's just strange how they're pricing entry-level cameras where so many people want something like that. And the prices and what they get, I think, are really damaging the relations of people trying to get into dedicated cameras. It's frustrating to see, but it's just my opinion, of course. This whole video is about that. So as a look at entry-level cameras, we see the price points. The issue is that they're about $100 too expensive, even at the entry level, with a pretty old RX100, which I'm sure is still decent, but then we see cameras like the HX80 that are priced very high for what you get. You do get the flip screen, but I'm curious about your thoughts about what you think should happen in that industry to make it stay relevant, keep it flourishing, and not damage relations between the person wanting to get in and the camera company, what they would sell to that person to make it work, price-wise and also image quality-wise. Anyways, Sky Photography Bonsai. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks.